Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Kentucky Derby Prep Recap, taking a look back at the Grade 3 $750,000 Southwest Stakes at Oaklawn Park on January the 28th. Arabian Night bet down to 2-5, lived up to expectations. We break from the gate over this sealed, sloppy track going a mile and a 16th. Arabian Night is the number 6 and, as expected, went right to the front.
Yeah, it broke very well in this race. Had such easy speed, Dan, making the lead. It felt like, at least coming into the race, where like a spot where maybe he would be challenged early. The challenge never really materializes. He clears pretty easily on the first turn, and from here, Dan, he's just basically in charge of this race throughout. It's a very, very promising performance.
And I realize he's 2-5, but he did have questions to answer. Only his second lifetime start, first time on a wet track, stretching out around 2 turns. He showed the wet track wouldn't be an issue 6 strides out of the gate. He is relaxing on the lead. Sometimes these stretch out sprinters are headstrong. He is doing everything John Velasquez wants. We see the second choice, the number 2 Corona Bolt, attempt to advance along the inside. This horse just didn't seem very interested leaving the gate. I thought he would be a lot closer to the pace. He did not run well. Maybe it was the track.
It seems like the kind of race where stretching out for the first time after showing speed sprinting, that they would have just tried to make the lead with him here. And I won't say they didn't try to make the lead, Dan, but he just didn't really have that much speed from the gate and never really gets himself involved here. Maybe the wet tracks is an excuse. He's one who has an awful lot to prove, though, as a distance kind of horse. So we'll see if Brad Cox gives him another chance or if they go back to sprinting with him.
Frosted Departure made a good solid run at Arabian Night for about 1/8 of a mile or 3/16 of a mile. He has been dispatched, and Arabian Night is on his way. Getting up for second, the late running Red Route 1, who still seems a little bit green, but he showed fine acceleration on the turn from far, far back and then got up for the place.
Was far back early in this race, just totally outrun the first part up the backstretch. He made a pretty nice run around the turn. With a really good ride also from Ricardo Santana. He was able to stave all the ground around the turn, come in out to the stretch, and he finished up okay, Dad. He never changed leads. I felt like he was just kind of forging on it. And it's not like he was flying late in this race, but still, considering how far away he was early, not a bad performance.
He, of course, was third in the Breeders' Futurity behind Champion Forte at 2. Doesn't look like he has a lot of speed, but acts like the kind of horse that'll run all day long and will likely continue on the trail. Maybe we'll see him in the Rebel or the Arkansas Derby. Frosted Departure was third in this race, and he was stretching out off a victory, going 3/4 of a mile in the Renaissance at Oaklawn Park. Distance was the big question. I think distance kind of saw him out a little bit, but he also didn't have the easiest trip, being placed on a hard chase behind a very good horse.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, in a lot of ways, he runs really, really well in here. Just, being on the chase after a superior horse, that's a pretty tough trip for most horses. And he gave it a pretty good try there, Dan. You could see in that replay how tired he was, though, in the last 1/8 of a mile or so, just going up and down at the end of this race. But he did a lot of work early. To me, a horse who had 3 wins on the way into this start, by the way, probably the best race of his career.
Jace's Road was disappointing. He seemed cold on the board, didn't he, considering he had just won the Gunrunner Stakes, going 2 turns at Fairgrounds for the powerhouse Brad Cox barn. He was dismissed at 10-1. All in all, the trip was there, and for a brief moment, Mike, inside the 3/8 pole, it looked like he was going to make a run, and just as soon as it looked like he was going to make a run, he flattened out.
Yeah, made a little bit of a move there around that final turn, 3 wide, moving up towards the leaders there. But just as soon as he materialized, that's how quickly he was back out of contention again. No finish at all. He got very tired through the stretch of this race and left behind. I felt similarly about the one Sun Thunder, Dan, a horse who you knew was going to sort of settle and try to make one run. And he did try to do that, but another horse who just kind of came up empty in the stretch.
And as we discussed, Corona Bolt maybe didn't handle the wet track, maybe didn't handle the extra distance. I think that was the main question mark concerning Corona Bolt coming into this race after his first two starts, both victories, one against stakes competition at the fairgrounds. Does he get another chance going two turns, Mike, or do you think right now he needs a little bit of a drop in class and certainly a drop in distance?
Well, I mean, I guess you could, keep him on the path. He did run a really fast race when he won the Sugar Bowl in his second career start. So, if you think he has the talent, you might as well give him one more chance over a distance of ground just to see what happens. I guess if you're going to do that, though, you better be sending this horse to the lead, Dad. I don't see why you would stretch him out based off the first two races and then not go to the lead with him when you stretch him out in distance. We'll see. Maybe it was the wet track. I have concerns about how far he wants to go anyway. But certainly you could give him one more chance and just see what happens.
Let's take a closer look at the winner now. Arabian Night. He's 2 for 2 in his career. He won his debut at Keeneland with a 97 Beyer speed figure going 7/8 of a mile. He's never been headed in his career. He earned a very respectable 96 Beyer in the Southwest, $250,000 yearling. He was then the sale topper in OBS April 2022. He went for a whopping $2.3 million after breezing 9 and 4. And you look at this pedigree, Mike, really distance should be okay for him.
It should be, and just based on what he's done in his first two starts, he's shown there's the way he finished off both of his races, Dan. It doesn't feel like, going a little bit longer than this is going to be an issue for him. He really runs through the wire in his races. He's never working too hard at any point in those starts, even though he has speed. I mean, he's pretty clearly a very, very talented 3-year-old. It's going to be very interesting to see how much more improvement he has in him, because right now he's real good.
By 2-year-old champion Uncle Mo, the dam a half to Black-Eyed Susan placed Kinsley Kisses, and grade 3 placed Dirt Router Spooky Woods is Arabian Night. Now, of course, the Baffert train runners are ineligible to earn Kentucky Derby qualifying points. So Arabian Night, despite this victory in this rich race, has 0. The Baffert train runners are likely to be dispersed over the next 6 weeks or so as the prep race season continues to intensify. Baffert did tell Mary Rampolini of Daily Racing Form Arabian Night might get a little bit of a break after this race. So I'm assuming the Rebel could be off limits. That might be Cave Rock's spot. Maybe we'll see Arabian Night in the Arkansas Derby or the Santa Anita Derby.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they want to run him in the Kentucky Derby, they got to get some points somewhere, and they got to do it for a different trainer because of all the silliness that's going on with Baffert. So I'm assuming the next time we see him, it'll be for a different trainer, and you would just hope that this horse, can sort of keep his form for whoever he's running for next, because again, he looks like a really, really promising colt.
Taking a look at the prices for the Southwest Stakes, Arabian Night, 280, 240, 220, dominating as the favorite. Red Route 1, way from the back of the pack, was second for trainer Steve Asmussen. Frosted Departure held on for third. But as for Arabian Night, it could be bigger and better. He's 2 for 2 for Baffert. We'll likely see him next time with another trainer.